Listen to me very carefully. There comes a point in every person's life when they realize a terrifying, silent truth. The world does not respect people who are always available. It does not value the voice that never stops speaking. It does not appreciate the person who always answers the phone on the first ring. And it completely ignores the individual who is constantly seeking validation, attention, and approval. You have spent months, perhaps even years, giving your energy away to people who barely notice your presence. You have poured your time, your emotions, and your loyalty into relationships, friendships, and spaces where you were treated as an afterthought. You sit in your room late at night, surrounded by a heavy, suffocating darkness, carrying a cold ache in your chest, wondering why you feel so thoroughly forgotten. You ask yourself why your effort is never matched, why your absence is never felt, and why you feel so profoundly small in a world that is so absurdly loud. Did you know that in human behavioral psychology, there is a concept known as the scarcity principle? It states that the human brain is hardwired to assign massive value to things that are rare, limited, and difficult to access, while completely taking for granted anything that is abundant, cheap, and constantly present. When you make yourself endlessly accessible to everyone around you, you are physically lowering your psychological value in their eyes. You think that by always being kind, always being available, and always explaining yourself, you will gain their love and respect. But the harsh, unyielding truth of human nature is the exact opposite. The more you chase, the faster they run. The more you scream for attention, the more deaf they become to your voice. The more you stay attached to people who treat you like an option, the more you destroy your own self-worth. Before we venture deeper into this dark, transformative framework, let us lay down a clear and absolute foundation. If you are currently suffering from a severe mental health condition or clinical depression, you should always consult a qualified medical professional or licensed therapist, as this content is designed purely for educational, philosophical, and personal growth purposes. Now, look at the painful reality of your current situation. You are tired. You are exhausted from pretending that you are fine. Tired of chasing people who wouldn't cross a street for you, and tired of living a life that feels completely undirected. You feel this deep, burning desire to change, but every time you try, you make a massive mistake. You announce your goals to the world. You post your plans on social media. You tell your friends how you are going to change your life, and you seek applause before you have even laid a single brick. Behavioral science confirms that when you speak aloud about your intentions before executing them, your brain releases a surge of cheap dopamine, tricking your mind into feeling a false sense of accomplishment. You feel as if you have already won, so your real motivation completely dies, your focus evaporates, and you slide right back into the same comfortable, sad, and weak routine. This is precisely why you must learn the dark art of total invisibility. You must choose to disappear, not out of bitterness, not out of petty revenge, and not as a dramatic emotional display to make people worry about you. You do not change your profile picture to draw attention. You do not post sad quotes on your story. And you do not make a scene about how cold you have suddenly become. That is not power. That is a desperate, pathetic cry for help. Real power does not make a sound. Real power is silent, calculated, and absolute. To disappear in silence means to quietly pull your energy back from every single place where it is not deeply cherished. It means cutting off the unnecessary noise, stepping away from shallow social circles, ending the useless conversations, and entering a period of radical, unbroken isolation. Think about what happens to a blade of steel when it is forged. It is not hammered in the middle of a crowded, noisy street for everyone to watch and applaud. It is plunged into an intense, dark and searing fire inside a closed furnace. It is subjected to extreme pressure, struck repeatedly in isolation and cooled down in total quietness until its structure completely changes. The dark room you are currently sitting in, the deep loneliness you feel in your chest, and the silence that surrounds you right now, this is your furnace. You can choose to sit in this darkness and mourn the fact that no one is coming to save you, or you can embrace this isolation as the greatest psychological gift you will ever receive. When you choose to step out of the spotlight and disappear into the shadows of intense self-improvement, something incredible begins to happen to your psychology. You stop reacting to the world, and you start building your internal fortress. You stop wasting your precious, finite mental bandwidth on what people think about you, and you redirect every single drop of that energy toward engineering an unbreakable mind and a powerful character. You begin to understand that solitude is not your enemy, it is your ultimate laboratory. In this quiet space, away from the constant noise of modern distractions and digital validation, you finally get to meet the real, unpolished version of yourself. You get to inspect your flaws, analyze your weaknesses, and burn away the soft, lazy, and desperate habits that have kept you weak for so long. This first phase of your transformation is about making a ruthless decision to close the doors to your life. It is about realizing that your energy is sacred, your focus is a finite resource, and your presence is a privilege that must be earned, not a free commodity given to anyone who happens to walk by. If you want to become truly unreachable, you must first become entirely unshakable within your own silence. Now that you have chosen to step into the shadows, you must learn how to construct your fortress. Disappearing is not merely a physical act, it is an intense, deliberate internal restructuring. Most people who try to go into monk mode or ghost mode fail within the first 48 hours because they treat isolation like a punishment. They sit in their rooms, staring at their walls, desperately checking their phones every 5 minutes to see if anyone has noticed that they are gone. They are constantly fighting the urge to log back in, to post a cryptic story, or to text an old friend just to feel a small hit of validation. That is not disappearing. That is a psychological siege where your own mind is holding you hostage. Real, sovereign isolation requires a complete elimination of the need to be seen. Behavioral psychology shows that human beings have a deeply ingrained evolutionary desire for social inclusion. Thousands of years ago, being cast out from the tribe meant certain death, so your brain naturally panics when it feels disconnected from the group. It floods your system with cortisol, creating that familiar, cold anxiety in your stomach whenever you feel left out or forgotten. But in the modern world, this ancient survival mechanism is hijacked by algorithms and shallow social dynamics. When you step away from the crowd, your brain misinterprets that quiet space as danger. You must consciously override this signal. You must train your mind to view isolation not as exile, but as absolute sanctuary. The first pillar of building this fortress is the protocol of low exposure. Read these words carefully. You cannot rebuild your mind in the same environment that broke it. You must ruthlessly audit where your energy is leaking. Every time you scroll mindlessly through social media feeds, every time you engage in gossip, and every time you reply to a half-hearted text message from someone who treats you like an option, you are letting the outside world breach your walls. You are handing over your precious dopamine and focus to people and systems that care nothing for your growth. When you enter total isolation, you cut these cables completely. You turn off the notifications, you delete the time-wasting applications, and you stop keeping tabs on people who have moved on with their lives. You create a silent digital perimeter around your consciousness. This brings us to the second pillar, the vow of silent execution. When you decide to disappear and transform your body, your financial status, or your mind. Your ego will scream at you to show off your progress. It will urge you to post a picture at the gym, to share a photo of a book you are reading, or to hint at a new business project you are starting. You must crush this impulse the second it arises. The moment you seek public applause for a private effort, you bleed out the raw, potent energy required to actually complete the work. Real psychological dominance is built in total secret. Let people assume you are lost, let them think you have failed, and let them foolishly believe that you have given up. Their mistaken assumptions are your greatest strategic cover. While they are laughing, chatting, and wasting their lives in public, you are quietly laying the heavy foundations of a life they will eventually be unable to comprehend. Look at how a master craftsman works. He does not invite a crowd into his workshop when the wood is still rough, unpolished, and full of splinters. He locks the heavy wooden doors, turns on his lamp, and works in solitary focus for hundreds of hours. He cuts, sands, polishes, and refines his work in total silence until it reaches absolute perfection. Only when the masterpiece is entirely finished does he open the doors and present it to the world. You are that masterpiece. Right now, you are still rough around the edges. You still carry soft habits, emotional vulnerabilities, and a desperate need for approval. You are not ready to be seen. You need time in the dark. You need months of undisturbed, intense focus where nobody gets to ask you what you are doing, nobody gets to critique your process, and nobody gets to drain your spirit. Ask yourself this uncomfortable question right now. What could your life look like 6 months from today if you completely stopped explaining yourself to people and gave 6 unbroken months of radical silent work to your highest goals? Imagine the physical transformation, the mental clarity, and the terrifying level of focus you would possess if you simply refused to be distracted by anything superficial. The cold truth is that you already know what you need to do. You know the books you need to read, the work you need to execute, the food you need to put in your body, and the bad habits you need to burn away. You do not lack information. You lack the courage to stand completely alone in the dark long enough for the work to take effect. This section of your journey demands that you make peace with being misunderstood. When you stop going to the same noisy events, when you stop answering pointless calls, and when you stop playing the quiet game of pleasing everyone, people will call you cold, arrogant, or distant. Let them talk. Their opinions are merely background noise outside the thick walls of your fortress. Your duty is not to be understood by the crowd. Your duty is to become a sovereign, unbreakable individual. Once your fortress is built and the world is shut out, you must face the hardest part of the process, raising your internal standards to a level that makes you completely unreachable. Being unreachable is not about changing your phone number or moving to a distant city. It is a psychological state of total immunity to low-level distractions, superficial drama, and cheap validation. It means that your standards for your own character, your time, and your mind are so exceptionally high that the average chaos of the modern world simply cannot reach you anymore. Look at the raw neuroscience of how high standards rebuild a broken mind. When you live a soft, undirected life, your brain's reward system is perpetually fried by low-effort dopamine. You scroll through short-form videos, seek attention online, and engage in mindless entertainment, which continually lowers your baseline for focus and grit. You train your brain to be weak, restless, and deeply anxious. But when you voluntarily choose difficulty when you wake up early, push your physical limits in the gym, read dense philosophical texts, and execute complex work without touching your phone, you reset your neurological baseline. You rebuild your brain's anterior mid-cingulate cortex, the exact region responsible for willpower, tenacity, and the ability to embrace hard things. You literally forge a mind that thrives under pressure while others collapse. To reach this level of psychological mastery, you must adopt the rule of uncompromising selectivity. Think about the things you allow into your mind every single day. Most people act like a garbage bin, letting every random thought, opinion, news headline, and social media outrage dump itself straight into their consciousness. Then, they wonder why they feel so chronically overwhelmed, anxious, and sad. An unreachable individual acts like a stone fortress guarded by elite sentinels. You do not let random people access your energy. You do not let superficial conversations waste your time. And you do not let trivial insults penetrate your emotional filter. You evaluate everything through a single, sharp Stoic question. Is this within my control, and does it serve my highest virtue? If the answer is no, you dismiss it instantly without wasting a single drop of emotional energy. Consider the deep psychological paradox of human attachment. The more desperately you crave someone's approval, the more repelled by you they become. The more you beg the world to recognize your worth, the more worthless you appear. But the moment you turn your back on the crowd, turn your eyes inward, and become completely obsessed with your own potential, the entire dynamic reverses. When you no longer need anything from anyone, no validation, no attention, no approval, and no cheap sympathy, you radiate a silent, terrifying aura of absolute independence. You become magnetically mysterious. People can sense that you are operating on a completely different frequency, one that they cannot manipulate or control. This requires you to master the discipline of silent rejection. Throughout your period of isolation, old distractions will inevitably attempt to lure you back into your former soft lifestyle. An old acquaintance will reach out to pull you into useless drama. An opportunity for easy, short-term pleasure will present itself, or your own lazy habits will whisper to you to take a day off and break your routine. You must learn to say no with cold, quiet finality. You do not need to make excuses, you do not need to deliver long explanations, and you do not need to apologize for protecting your energy. A simple, firm refusal is enough. Every time you reject a cheap temptation in secret, you stack another massive brick on the wall of your self-respect. Look into the mirror during these quiet hours of solitude. The person staring back at you is the only human being you are truly responsible for building. You cannot fix a world that wants to remain broken, you cannot save people who enjoy playing the victim, and you cannot force anyone to respect you. But you can make yourself so disciplined, so knowledgeable, so physically capable, and so mentally resilient that your very existence becomes an undeniable force. You are preparing yourself for a level of sovereignty where your peace of mind does not depend on a single external factor. As we prepare to enter the final phase of this transformation, brace yourself. The final section contains the ultimate psychological key that turns your silence into an unstoppable force, ensuring that once you step back into the light, you will never be ignored or taken for granted ever again. With your fortress built and your standards elevated, you stand on the precipice of a permanent evolution. You are ready to execute the final, most confronting phase of your transformation, the return of the unreachable sovereign. Understand this clearly. Disappearing is not a permanent escape from reality. You do not hide in the dark forever, like a ghost hiding from the world. You disappear to sharpen your weapons, you train in the shadows to master your impulses, and you step back into the light when you are completely transformed. When you finally emerge from your period of radical isolation, you do not return as the same reactive, desperate person who left. You walk back into the world as an unshakable force. Look at what happens when an unreachable person enters a room. They do not talk loudly to gain attention, they do not brag about their accomplishments, and they do not jump into every conversation trying to prove how smart or successful they are. They possess what behavioral psychologists call the silent presence. Because they spent months in total solitude mastering their thoughts. Their body language is completely relaxed, their eyes are focused, and their speech is deliberate. They carry no desperate need to be liked, no fear of being rejected, and no anxiety about what others think of them. That total detachment from external validation is terrifyingly magnetic. People instinctively feel that you cannot be bought, manipulated, or broken by their opinions. You have become unreachable. The final rule you must seal into your soul before you break your silence is this: my solitude is not my exile, it is my eternal refuge. Never forget where your true power lies. The world will try to pull you back into its noisy, shallow matrix. People will try to test your new boundaries, tempt you with cheap distractions, and pull you down to their level of comfortable mediocrity. But you now possess the ultimate psychological weapon. You know how to be completely fine on your own. You know that if the world becomes chaotic, fake, or disrespectful, you can simply step back into your silent fortress at any second. You no longer fear being left out, you no longer fear being alone, and you no longer fear being ignored, because your dark room was where you found your absolute power. You stand right now at a monumental crossroads of human psychology. You can close this video, go right back to your old habits, keep chasing people who ignore you, and continue to let the digital world consume your potential. Or you can decide, right here, right now, that today is the day you go ghost mode. You can choose to step into the shadows, turn off the noise, and do the heavy, silent work that will make your future self completely legendary. If you are one of the rare few who has listened to these words not just with your ears, but with your very soul, do not leave a superficial comment. Go down to the comment section right now, write down today's date, and type these 4 powerful words: I choose the shadows. Let that comment be your official public declaration to this community and to the world that you have officially stepped out of the crowd and entered your period of absolute self-mastery. Here at Silent Power Psychology, we do not cater to the weak crowd looking for cheap entertainment and quick hacks. We build a permanent community of sovereign minds who are dedicated to absolute discipline, mental resilience, and unyielding strength. If you are ready to completely re-engineer your character and unlock the deep psychological strategies that will make you bulletproof, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave a strong like on this video. Rebuild your fortress in secret, stay fiercely disciplined in the dark, and never forget the silent power that is waiting to be unleashed inside your own mind. We will see you in the next deep psychological breakdown. Stay focused, stay dangerous, and keep winning.